So now that we have our glass, I would like us to add our sign up or sign in element. So I'll zoom in a little bit so we have enough room to work on, and then I'll bring up another rectangle tool. So with the rectangle tool out, I'll draw a rectangle to divide our modal into two. So what I plan to do is that I like this left side of the modal, I'd like to add some kind of illustration to this side, and the sign up form will appear on the right side. So with this rectangle selected, I'll align it to the main rectangle, and then I like to apply the same border radius, but I don't want to apply it to all of the sides or all of the corners of this rectangle. So I'll select the rectangle, go here, corner radius, and I'll select this button, independent corners. What this does is it gives you the option to change the different corners individually. So this one is the top left corner radius, which is this side. This one is the top right corner radius, which is this side. This is bottom right actually. Bottom right radius, which is this side, and the last one is the bottom left corner radius. So I want to change the top left corner radius and the bottom left corner radius. So I'll select the first one and then give it a radius of 20, and then I'll go to the bottom left and then also give it 20. So when I press enter, you can see only this side and this side have the border radius. So I'll adjust the rectangle to about that and change the color from this gray to pure white, since that's where the illustration will be. But at the same time, I want us to see the background and the glass effect, so I don't want this to be pure white thinking about it. So I'll select this rectangle and then reduce the opacity to about 50%. Good, so that we can get this I don't know, but this glassy blur effects with the illustration on top of the rectangle, if you get what I mean. So now that we are done with the background, let's get into designing the form itself. So I'll bring up my text tool, and I don't really know what fonts to use, so I'll just click anywhere and I'll go through some of my favorite fonts. I think I'll be using Proxima Nova for this one, and I'll give it a font size of about 22. I want to give it a heading which says sign up to I don't know the name to give to this this design, so probably I'll use one of the names I used in the previous design videos. So I'll call this design recreate. So I'll say sign up to recreate. Yep, so this will be kind of the main heading in this section. So I'll change the font weight from regular to bold so that it stands out from the previous ones, and probably change the font color, because I don't want the font color to be pure black. So I'll give it somewhere here, I think will be great. And should I center it? No, I don't want to. And then I'll add another text here which says start for free, and I'll change the font size from 22 to something small like 14. Give it the same color, which is this. And then I'll even make this lighter so that there's a difference between this and then the main heading. So I'll change the opacity and I'll bring it closer to this. So, and I'll change the color of the recreate to the main theme color of the recreate company itself, which was I think it was an orange color. I don't have the specific color, so I'm just going to play around with some colors to see which one will fit perfectly with the design we are trying to go for. So somewhere there is good. Great. And then I'll give another option saying if you already have an account with Recreate, you can just sign in. So I'll say already already a member. Then I'll provide an option saying sign in rather, and I'll change the color of the sign in from this to a blue. So I'll go for a light blue. That's nice. And then so now we have our main headings, and okay, so now we have our main headings. So let's go on and create the text fields. So the first text field will obviously be the email text field. So let me bring up my rectangle tool and draw a rectangle about this big, and I'll make the height 48. Drag it closer to this one and make sure it's 30 pixels below this text. And I'll change the color from this gray to white and give it a stroke of this color. I'll probably make it lighter, of course. Feels too sharp and dark, so I'll make it lighter. And then I'll give the rectangle some border radius to soften it up a bit, right about there, 10. And I don't think the solid white is that good, so I'll change the opacity so that we can see the background a little bit. Let's say about there. And for the and I'll bring it down a little bit, dragging one of these texts and then change the text to email. So this text box represents the email field. Okay, so about 10 pixels is good. So I'll drag both of these down so that we have about 30 pixels space from the top. So with the email, I think I'd like to add something that shows that this text box is an email, an icon or something. So I'll go to this menu and then go to plugins and then bring up box icons. You can also install this plugin by going to the main menu, going to community and searching for box icons plugin. So what I want is mail. Let me see if they have. Okay. So I'd like to go with the @ symbol. Oh, that's nice. So I'll drag it into our email text field, and then I'll change the color to one of the colors we've been using, and we can see our email text field is coming together. So I also want to add a placeholder text to guide the user when typing their email. So I'll drag in this text. No, let me use this one. Yeah. Oops. Done. Okay, so I want to change. Oh, what's happening? Okay, sure. I want to change this text to say someone at email. .com. And then I'll make sure to place it in the middle. And then about 20 pixels from the left side of the text box itself. Okay. And I'll change the opacity so that it's light enough. Yep, it's looking good. And I think this one is too high. Okay, so now that we have our email field, the next thing I want to create is the name field, and then I'll create the password field. So I want us to have 3 fields in total. So the easiest way to go about this, since we've created our email field, is to lock this, to select the email field and then hold Option on your keyboard on Mac or Alt on Windows, and then I'll drag it down to create another field, and then I'll change this to full name, and then I'll call this probably John Manu. As the placeholder, I'll say John Manu, so the user will just click and then this placeholder will disappear and the user will type in his name. So for this icon, I want to change it to a person, so I'll bring up my plugins again and then look for box icon, and I'll search for user, and I'll go for this one. So I'll click and then drag it into our full name text field. And before that, I'd like to align this guy properly to the center. So I'll click it and then click hold shift and click the text box and align vertical centers. And then I'll make sure it's about 20 pixels or not. Let's see. Yep, about 20 pixels from the right side of the rectangle. So I'll do the same thing for this. I'll change the color from pure black to this color, and then I'll hold shift and press the rectangle and align vertical centers, and then I'll make sure it's 20 pixels from the right side of the rectangle. Okay, so now that we have our full name text field, I'd like to add one last text field, and then I'll create the button and then add the illustration later. So I'll bring this guy into the desktop, and then I'll delete this, and then I'll select all of these and then hold Option and duplicate it to bring another text field, and then I'll rename this text field to say password. And for the password icon, I want to add a padlock. So I'll go to box icons again, and then I'll look for a padlock, and then I'll bring out this one and then drag it into the rectangle, change the color of course, and then make sure to align it vertically, and I'll click on it and I'll make sure it's 20 pixels from the right side of the containing rectangle. So I'll drag that one also inside the desktop, and I'll delete the container. Yeah, so our sign up is coming to shape, so I'd like to align it. I'll select everything and then bring it to the top and make sure it's about 50 pixels from the left side of the rectangle. Yep. And then so the last thing is to add the button, the submit button or the sign up button itself. So I'll drag it down. I'll click on this rectangle and duplicate it to bring out another shape, and then I'll click on it and edit it. So for the button itself, I don't want a stroke, so I'll remove the stroke from it, and I want the color to be the same as the recreate color. So I'll select this color, select the eyedropper tool, and then make it the same color as the logo, the company logo. So yeah, I'll bring up this text tool, hold option, and then copy it onto this rectangle. And then I'll change the color to a pure white, and then bring up the opacity as well, and change the text to sign up, and then I'll center it. I'll select the text, hold shift and press select the rectangle tool and align both horizontally and vertical centers so that we have our nicely shaped button. So when we zoom out a little bit, we can see our sign up is really taking shape. So now that we are done with the right side, let's go to the left side and then try to add some illustrations. So the first thing I want to do is to copy this text. I need only the recreate, so I'll select everything before recreate and delete, and then I want to add a logo to the recreate. So okay, so now that we have our recreate logo, I'll hold option and make sure it's 40 pixels from the top of the modal and 40 pixels from the right side of the modal. Yes. And now we need to add in our illustration. So for the illustration, I get my illustrations from a website called OnDraw. So okay, so we'll open OnDraw and we'll go to browse now. And for this particular illustration, I want to go for someone who is kind of like painting. So I think I like this enough, but before I add it, I download it, I have to change the color to match the color of my design. So I'll pick this color up and I'll paste it in here. And OnDraw has this very cool feature where you can select the color you want to be applied to the illustration you're trying to download. So once I've added the color, I'll click on this illustration, and then I'll download SVG for my project. It'll ask me where to download it. I'll save it, and then I'll go back to Figma, and then I'll drag in my illustration. Perfect. So now that I've dragged in my illustration, I'd like to resize it and center it well. About there is good. Okay. So I'll select both of the elements and then I'll align them perfectly. Awesome. So now we have our beautiful glassmorphic modal, sign up modal. Yeah, guys, so yeah, that's it. I freestyled this thing and it really turned out good. Thank you for sitting through this video, and thank you if you enjoyed this video. If you like this video, I'd really appreciate it if you hit the thumbs up button to like this video and leave a comment. Type anything you want me to cover, any topic you like me to cover in the design area, and share to someone who might find this also useful. So until then, I'll see you in the next video. Enjoy your day. Bye bye.